afternoon, ma'am, and you're welcome to the platform, Nigeria. When you got the invitation to be a speaker at this year's platform, what was your impression and why did you accept it, really?
I have a daughter, one of my many children, Ogo, who is a good, probably a friend of Pastor Poju. You know, she had told me even way before I came back from Washington last year that there is a Pastor Poju and that he would love me to be part of the platform and that, Mom, you would like what he does. I really know you would. And she was so excited about this, you know, so and so I knew of the work of platform by virtue of her remarks and her opinion, which matters a lot to me. And then I got an email from Pastor Poju, and I sent back to him and said, okay, so this is Deto's person, you know. And I said to him, I said, yes, I already heard about the great work you're doing, and I have followed some of the information that I've seen concerning your work, and I think it's a great work, and that it's something, because anytime that I see a nation builder, I want to, even, you know, I mean, like I go to the strangest of places. Sometimes I see a young man who is doing something that he believes would make a difference in that tiny community, and they would write me a letter, you know, both when I was in government as well as when I was at the World Bank. They would write me a letter and say, oh, you know, I'm doing so and so, and I just say that this person is a nation builder. This person is interested in changing the society, and all they needed was my being there. That's the least that you could possibly do. So I would go to some of the, you know, sometimes when I go to certain places, my staff in those days would say, Ma'am, what are you doing? Please, I mean, we pay for it. But nation builders matter for every nation. And I think that's what Pastor Poju is. And that's why I'm delighted that I was able to make it this time.
And it's really wonderful having you. You know, the first speaker, Pastor Ito, also talked about the quality of people in government and all. And I've also realized that in the past 7 to 5 years, we've also had people who have graduated from Ivy League schools who have also been brought in as technocrats into government. This is probably more than we've ever seen happen before. What impact has that had on the quality of governance at that level?
Yes, you remember that one of the things I said you're looking for in any one person that you have trying to solve a problem for improved quality of governance is really that the person must have the competency, character, and capacity. These three things are so important. You can bring somebody from the Ivy Leagues. If they don't have the capacity, they would faint in the day of adversity. If you brought somebody from the Ivy League and they don't have the character, they would be a locust to the vision. You know, so you in any one individual, what you're looking for, whether they are trained here or they are trained in an Ivy League school, or they, you know, let it be that whatever problem you're asking them to solve, they can acquire the competency if they were not trained with it. Because, for example, when I went to solid minerals, I said to my boss, like, I wouldn't even recognize a rock if I saw one, you know. And he said, just go with your problem-solving skills and my mindset, that entrepreneurial mindset that tries to solve problems. And that's what it is. So you put all of that together and you just go with it, you know. And frankly speaking, I think that the passion to want to make things, because you have to see yourself as so privileged. I mean, I've been privileged in life. So for me, the opportunity of service is to say, with all this privilege that I've been given, I must do something that would make that next person able to have a similar kind of privilege that I have had. Isn't that what the Bible says to us? That the grace that we have received is the same grace that the measure of the same grace that we must give. So Ivy League is okay, fair enough, because I mean it really trains you. I got some education in one, but you know, it's not all. If you find an Ivy League person with a devious tendency, I mean, do you know, I met some people in the civil service of Nigeria who were graduates of Oxford and Cambridge in the 60s and in the 70s, they had actually forgotten. They had forgotten where they were trained. They had completely gotten sucked into the environment in which they had to function. So there's much more than just having that degree.
You know, the average Nigerian is also very concerned. When they see people like you, like Dora, they're concerned for continuity. How exactly are you able to tackle that? You have wonderful initiatives you set in motion,
yes,
and then you go out and everything crumbles.
Yes.
How are you able to do that?
It's a sad thing. It's a sad thing. Even, you know, even in developed societies, you do see a change of government affecting some of the vision that the previous government had. But one thing that they try to do is to insulate good policy. We might have a difference in terms of the approach, but the problem that we seek to solve, analytics, evidence would have proven that those are the critical problems, the fundamental problems, yes, we need to solve. So precisely. So it's a matter of, you know, I wanted to do it coming from the West, you want, yes, to do it coming from, yes, but the integrity of the solution will, yes, be retained. Now, part of what they do is this whole citizens' participation in public policy. That's why I was asking the hall, how many of you followed the education reform? You could see not many. So what were they going to be defending? Nothing. They had no relationship with it. So as far as they're concerned, all those ministers, they are all the same job. I beg. You know, so and then good policy will be taken and thrown away. But because people are doing that because nobody is going to hold them to accountability. For example, that particular reform that I talked about, the Community Accountability and Transparency Initiative that I talked about, CATI, all that it needed was, because that reform, you know what we did? We actually, we outsourced it to a civil society coalition that focuses on education, and we gave them an office in UBEC and said, your independence is assured. This minister has looked at, I'm very fierce on the matter of citizens' participation, so I would preserve it for you. So we would facilitate you, but it is your duty to make sure that you're holding the ministry and to the accountability for the resources that we're going for UBE, and we're also going to do it for the university system. You know, it would have been a great idea that it continued. But as soon as I left and my successor came, they pursued them from the ministry, and that reform died. This is a reform that would have made sure that effectiveness and efficiency of public spending for education was assured. But who campaigned? Who cried? Who raised the voice? Nobody. Everybody just scampered away. And that was the end of it. And so the people interested in transactions continued with their transactions. You can't run a democracy that way. You must be interested. You must participate. That's why I'm hoping really that what Pastor Koju would do in the years ahead would be, you know, taking it really down to the specifics. In this your group of young people that are his followers, who are now nation builders by virtue of your engagement, there are some of you that would be, everything that has to do with health matters to you. Yes. You're interested in, then you must become people who build a coalition on every policy that has anything to do with health. And your voice, your position must be clear. And you must know the people to engage. You must know the platforms to use to influence change. You must be influential people. You know, you must be people that influence.
Getting down to the grassroots.
Yes. Not just the grassroots. You need to mobilize the grassroots, but the issue is that if you want change to happen, there are nodal points where decisions are made. You must be able to have the kind of influence that would make you become a terror to those who do not seek to do the right things for issues that matter to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's been such a pleasure having you on the platform.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad I came. I mean, I'm usually encouraged when I see young people who are really excited about changing the world. You know, there's no greater thing to do with your life than to create the basis for improvement, not because of your benefit. I mean, I say to people, look, I don't care to build a mansion. For goodness sake, what do I mean? The other day I was saying to my husband that, you know, I had to force myself to go and sit in the living room in my home just so that it would not be like you don't ever go to that part of the house. You know, so can you then imagine the silliness of making life about the things you possess? No. The substance of a man or a woman does not consist in that. Yes. So we should really, as a church, make sure that we're giving that message of the salt and the light, the salt and the light. When the citizens of Jericho said to Elisha that our land is pleasant, but the water is not, do you know what he said to them? He said, bring me a new cruse. And what did he put inside? Salt. The church. You see it? So the land of Nigeria is pleasant, but the water is not. Jesus is waiting for the salt of the earth that he called us. If we're busy trying to, you know, acquire like every other person, we will basically miss destiny. But God forbid that the church in Nigeria should miss destiny. God bless you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.